It's Connie Erickson. Welcome to another Live at 5. And today I want to talk about handling anxiety in your relationship. Today is March 16th, 2020, and I'm sure as you know, the world is in the midst of a pandemic. If you live anywhere here in the United States, it looks like you'll probably be spending a lot of time with your partner in the next few weeks. In light of COVID 19, aka the coronavirus, we've been told to practice social isolation. So you're avoiding crowds, you might be working from home, and you're probably seeing a lot of your partner. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of anxiety. Whether you're the calmer or the more anxious partner, I have some suggestions. So, first, let me talk to the calmer partner. And if that's you, here are some ideas to help your partner. First and foremost, do not say, stop worrying, or you're making too big of a deal of this. That'll get you nowhere. Your partner will just feel like you don't get it, and they might even become more anxious. Instead, listen to your partner and reflect back their concerns, like, wow, you're really worried that we're going to be quarantined and we won't have enough food for 2 weeks. If you can, do this until your partner feels understood, until they say, yeah, that's how I feel. Then ask your partner, how can I help? Including saying things like, is there anything that would make you feel better? Can I help you make a plan? Only after that, after your partner feels heard and understood, can you offer a dispute like, we have plenty of food in the freezer. I really think we'll be okay. But to be honest, even then, disputes frequently go nowhere. When someone else helps you allay your anxiety, it lasts only briefly. It's really an inside job. You have to do it for yourself. Your partner's the best person to calm your partner's anxiety. Which brings me to you if you're the more anxious partner. We humans get anxious when we don't know what the future will hold. We want to know what's going to happen to us, how everything will play out. We want to feel like we have some control. The unprecedented nature of this coronavirus brings out some anxiety in almost all of us. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but there are things we can do to control our anxiety and help keep ourselves and others safe. Yesterday, I posted about flattening the curve. There are lots of other places to get that information, so I'm not going to review hand washing and social isolation. Both are important and should be practiced diligently. But that's about the virus itself. I want to talk about the anxiety because there's a lot you could do about that as well. So, first off, if you're the anxious person, look at your fears, name them, be specific, and write them down. So many times when we're anxious, we have this horrible end of days, dark cloud feeling hanging over us. And if you're prone to anxiety, right now is probably one of those times. It's hard to fight that kind of anxiety because it's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. You can't fight your anxiety because you don't even know exactly what you're fighting against. But when you have something specific, you can assess its likelihood and make a plan. For example, write down, I'm worried that I'll be out of work for a few weeks and I won't have enough money. That's a valid fear. Write it down. Write down each fear. Make a list. And then for each fear, write a more calming, more reasonable thought and make a plan. For instance, losing 2 weeks' pay would really be bad, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. I could get through it. I might go into debt, but in a few months I could probably be back where I am today. That's still scary, but not insurmountable. No matter how big the fear, be specific. And remind yourself that people have survived many scary times in history, so it is very likely that you will survive this. Being specific, being realistic, and having a plan helps us feel more in control and calmer. And I feel strongly that this is important to write it down. Do this on paper. Doing it in your head only lasts a few minutes. Doing it on paper lasts several hours, and that can be the difference between having a crappy day and having a good day. Then, once you make a plan, you're done. Here's what I mean. Literally, schedule your worry time. Maybe spend up to an hour a day on these fears. Write them down, make a plan, then be done. When those fears or new fears pop up in your head, tell yourself, I already worried about that. I have a plan. Or, I'll worry about that tomorrow during worry time. It might sound really silly, but it works. And if you're doing this in the evening, make sure it's a few hours before bedtime. Here are other helpful things you could do. Get outside, take a walk. You can take a walk without being close to other people. Limit your news intake. You do not need hourly updates. And make sure your news is from reputable sources. Limit social media. You don't need the fears and speculations of every Tom, Dick, and Harry. They're just not helpful. Distract yourself. Listen to a podcast, read a book, watch a movie. Remind yourself that you're doing what you can and take each day one day at a time. Every day that passes is one day closer to the end of this crisis. Lastly, commit to staying present right here in this moment. Remind yourself that you're okay. Look around you. What do you see? For many of us, spring has sprung. Notice that. Enjoy it. What do you hear? Who are you with? What are they doing? What are they saying? They want to be with you, all of you. Be present with what is right in front of you, not with your worries. Yes, these are tricky times, but we do have control over what we put in our heads, how we deal with our thoughts, and how we treat each other. Choose wisely, choose consciously, and I'll see you next week.